Take a second. Think about that one person who absolutely infuriates you. The one who makes your blood pressure spike just by walking into the room. The one whose habits, whose attitude, whose very presence gets under your skin in a way you can't quite explain. Now, what if I told you that the traits you despise in them are actually suppressed fragments of your own identity hiding in plain sight? Stop blaming others for how they make you feel. It is time to look into the glass, because the reflection you have been avoiding is the one that holds all your power. Your visceral discomfort with certain people, with certain behaviors, with certain moments in your relationship is not a flaw. It is a roadmap to your subconscious. Today we are using a framework called the mirror effect, and specifically one of its most confronting principles. You are the common denominator in every relationship you have ever been in. We often spend our entire lives running from our internal shadows, the parts of ourselves we have decided are too ugly, too weak, too much, too broken to look at directly. But by learning to identify your external triggers as internal maps, you can finally integrate the rejected parts of yourself. And transmuting that self-resentment into holistic self-acceptance changes everything about your reality. Stay with me. What you are about to learn will permanently alter the way you see yourself and every person you love. The ego's defense: why you project. The ego's defense mechanisms are designed to keep you divided. Here is how they work. When you encounter a quality in yourself that you cannot accept, jealousy, neediness, rage, cowardice, vanity, the ego does not sit with it. It outsources it. It takes that unbearable quality and projects it outward onto the people around you. Suddenly, everyone else is the jealous one, the needy one, the controlling one, the coward. You are not lying when you perceive these things in others. The perception is real. But the charge, the disproportionate fury, the visceral disgust, that intensity belongs to you. That is your rejected part screaming for your attention from behind someone else's face. Psychologist Carl Jung called this the shadow. The shadow is everything you have decided cannot be you, and everything you have spent enormous energy pushing into the dark. But the shadow does not disappear when you push it away. It grows. It gets louder. It comes out in your relationships as the explosion you cannot explain, the jealousy that makes no sense, the wall that goes up right when someone gets too close. The mirror effect forces you to confront the parts of yourself you have worked hardest to ignore. And it does it through the people who trigger you most. External triggers as internal maps. Every trigger is a compass. The person who infuriates you is not your enemy. They are holding up a mirror, and what you cannot stand about them is pointing directly at something unresolved inside you. You despise their arrogance. Where have you buried your own need to be seen? You cannot tolerate their weakness. Where are you secretly terrified of being seen as weak? You rage at their selfishness. Where have you been told that having needs is selfish and buried yours so deep you cannot even find them? This is not a comfortable exercise. The ego will resist it violently. It will say, no, this is genuinely about them. They actually are arrogant. They actually are weak. They actually are selfish. And they may be. But the mirror effect is not asking whether their behavior is real. It is asking, why does this specific quality produce this specific intensity in you? The charge is the map, and the map leads inward. You are the common denominator. Here is the principle at the center of the mirror effect. You are the common denominator. Different partners, different friendships, different workplaces, but the same recurring pain, the same type of conflict, the same emotional experience dressed in different clothes. If you keep ending up feeling unseen, you are the constant in that equation. If you keep choosing people who need rescuing, you are the constant in that equation. If you keep finding yourself controlled, dismissed, abandoned, you are the constant. This is not blame. This is radical honesty. Because once you accept that you are the common denominator, you cannot be a passive victim of your circumstances anymore. You become an active participant in your own transformation. The power you have been handing to other people, the power to make you feel small, unworthy, enraged, that power has always been yours. The mirror effect gives it back to you. You cannot change what you will not face. But the moment you face it, the moment you stop outsourcing your wounds, you are no longer at the mercy of them. So how do you actually do this? How do you use the mirror method to dismantle your ego and reclaim your power? Step 1. Identify the trigger precisely. The next time someone produces a disproportionate reaction in you, do not immediately respond. Instead, get very specific about what you cannot stand. Not, they annoy me. What exactly are they doing? What is the precise quality you are reacting to? Specificity is everything. The more precisely you can name the behavior, the closer you are to the shadow it is pointing toward. Step 2. Ask the mirror question. Once you have named it, ask yourself, where does this quality live in me, expressed or suppressed? Not where you have shown this quality to the world. Where have you felt the pull toward it, the shame about it, the secret fear that it might be true of you? This is where the ego will fight you hardest. Stay in the question. Step 3. Trace it to its origin. Where did you learn that this quality was unacceptable in you? When were you shamed for being too much, too needy, too angry, too ambitious? What did it cost you to be seen as weak or selfish or out of control? The shadow was not born. It was created by a moment, or many moments, when you learned that a part of you was not safe to show. Step 4. Integrate, do not condemn. The goal is not to destroy the shadow. You cannot destroy what is genuinely part of you. The goal is integration, which means acknowledging the part, understanding why it formed, and choosing consciously how to express it rather than letting it run the show from underground. When you integrate the needy part, you can ask for what you need instead of manipulating for it. When you integrate the rageful part, you can set a firm boundary instead of exploding. When you integrate the fearful part, you can say, I'm scared, instead of going cold. Integration is not weakness. It is the end of the war with yourself. Transmuting self-resentment into self-acceptance. When you stop fighting the parts of yourself you dislike, something remarkable happens. The triggers lose their charge. The people who used to enrage you become less powerful, not because they have changed, but because you have stopped needing them to reflect your shadow. You have taken that reflection back. Your relationship changes. You stop needing your partner to be perfect so that you can feel whole. You stop projecting the wounds you have not healed onto the person closest to you. You become genuinely curious about them because you are no longer so defended against yourself that you cannot afford to actually see another person. This is what transmuting self-resentment into holistic self-acceptance actually means. It does not mean you approve of every part of yourself. It means you are no longer at war with any of them. And a person who is not at war with themselves is capable of a quality of love that is simply not available to anyone still fighting their own reflection. This is the work I built the mirror effect around. The book gives you all 22 principles for understanding what your relationship is reflecting about you, including the complete framework for shadow integration, how to identify your projections, trace them to their origin, and reclaim the power you have been outsourcing to the people who trigger you most. And the Midnight Bridge is the companion system, for once you have done this inner work, and you are ready to let someone actually reach you. Because understanding yourself is only the beginning. Building real emotional intimacy, that is the bridge. Both books are in the description below. If this hit you somewhere deep, that is where to go next. Subscribe if you are done with surface-level relationship content and ready to go where the real work lives. Drop a comment. What is the trait in someone else that triggers you most? You do not have to answer why, just name it. And then sit with the question, where does that live in me? Share this with someone who is ready for this conversation. See you in the next one.